and just keep like change. We're here, we're live, we're coming at you. We're going to try and do this and hopefully do it in one try. Agnew.
Yes. Still okay. Sorry.
I had a question. I've been wanting to do that forever, like just pause and make you think that I
That
like my
that
video pause.
your video does pause sometimes, so I'm like, all right, it's like kind of a trick, but
Right. It's gonna like take a minute before you're like, oh
you,
wait,
you,
maybe.
you're gonna catch me with a lot of patience because I'll be like,
I had a thought and a thing that I wanted to bring up to you, and I just can't remember what it is, but it had something to do with parents. Um, and if I remember, I'll tell you. But how was your Thanksgiving?
it was good. It was good. It was pretty relaxed because it was just us and my parents.
Oh, nice.
Both my sisters had to work, so they couldn't make it. So it was like pretty chill, and it was like one of the first Thanksgivings that I actually got to like put my feet up and watch football, and that was a lot of fun. Um,
Yeah, that was
le-
a pre-kid
yeah,
activity.
I don't even remember. I don't think it's ever happened to me. Like I don't think I've ever like when we used to go to my grandparents' house and they had this like outdoor sort of like glassed in backyard patio. But it
Hmm.
was like freezing out there. So they had space heaters. They had like a
Ooh.
propane heater and then this like little TV that would have the Lions game on. And I would always kind of try to come over to like watch it and then I just didn't and then the family just kind of exploded with all the other cousins and stuff like that and it became too much and so you were just having these little micro conversations
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden you were gone like it was like micro conversations like you eat one bite of turkey and then you're packing everything up and then you
I
know
know. It's not like what we pretended it was in our head. Like I never got the moment where I was like on the couch, belt unbuckled, like give me another piece of pumpkin pie. I don't care.
yeah
You know,
it's almost like did that ever
watching
happen
football.
or was that just a sitcom like did that ever really happen or was that just something that somebody has told me that is
It's like
supposed to happen
it's like we all want it to happen, but
yeah
everyone ends up being like just responsible, and no one really ever does it. Maybe like
yeah
one person gets to sneak away and do it. I was in Isle Morada in one of the Keys, the Florida Keys. Heather's mom.
oh wow
She's like on this thing now where she just takes us to the Keys for like the holidays. Like we were there for July 4th, hottest day of Earth,
yes
and then we were there for Thanksgiving, flawless weather.
that's
Uh,
awesome
it was, dude, and I went into it because I went through it on July 4th. I was like, well, there's no way this is going to be worse, you know.
I mean, at least on July 4th, you know what you're getting into. So you're like, I'm in it, and everyone else is going to be in it with me, and we're all in it. And it's going to be so hot, my skin will just fall off of me. Like it's just,
But I didn't, dude. I mean, I can take the heat. It was something else that day, and it was before I knew it was like the hottest day ever recorded. Like
yeah,
by noon, it was like I'm getting beaten down. Like I feel like something is just beating me down,
yeah.
and I can't like be out in this anymore. It was really depressing.
Oh,
So going into this, I was like, at least it won't be 100,
right.
and that mentality kind of like carried me through the whole thing, just enjoying pretty much every minute, not
That's
getting
awesome.
angry at the kids for no reason,
Yeah.
or overreacting. Um, and yeah, it was a blast, and I'm surprised that it was a blast.
Yeah.
How are your parents as grandparents?
They've been really awesome. Since my dad retired, he kind of, shifted gears and he's just like, I feel like he
I am
went.
grandpa.
Yes, I feel like he just like went up to a mountaintop and just yelled it like, "I am Grandpa, Pa, Pa, and I shall give ice cream for any reason whatsoever." So
Your
no,
dad is so good at like being like, okay, now I am transitioning to this and I'm going to do this and I'm not even going to remember what I did before.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
he's
no,
good at like, now I'm grandpop and I'm full blown 100% grandpop.
yeah, no.
That's
He
awesome.
he's been doing great with the kids, and he's like really excited to teach them like the next sports thing. I mean, he got Ruby riding her bike. We're like way behind on getting the kids to ride a bike, you know.
Oh, so do I.
Leo's still working on it, but it's hard in the city. Like in
I was just gonna say
the
you can't really take them to like the parking lot
yeah, and even the parks are kind
or
of
anywhere.
like people are going to be in the way, you know. And with my anxiety of upsetting everyone else in the world but my family, you know, like I get very stressed out thinking about all the people that I'm never going to meet again that are going to be mad at me. And
Every time I'm in a public place, I care more about the masses that are asses
yeah,
more than my own kin.
and how yeah, why does it work that way?
I don't know.
Like whoever set that up, whatever wire that is in people's brains needs to just like snip it.
To me, it's like the big brother thing. It's like you don't want your little brother to embarrass you, but you also want to protect them.
Yeah.
So it's like such a weird thing.
Well, it's funny because it's like there's another extreme, right? So we have our own extreme of that, and then where we're overly courteous, right? Like extreme courteousness,
What is the
and
word?
just sacrificing all of our, you know, our family. But then if you go to like other countries, like communist countries and stuff like that, everybody just has to worry about themselves. So it's like everyone else is invisible and people will just plow through other people, like just like walk right through them, like a tree branch just hit them in the face or something. Like
Right, because
it's really odd.
there's no you better than me feeling over there.
So somewhere in
We're
the
all the
middle,
same.
I want to figure out somewhere in the middle, right? Like
Yeah, I know.
not ignoring everybody in the world, but also not yelling at the kids.
Well, yeah, it's like greatness has to still be treated as great.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the great people can't be still on the same level as the shitty people.
It's so tough with the holidays and stuff because it's like you know the steps that you need to take, but you have to you in the moment of them you have to remember to enjoy it. And that's like the toughest part about it because it's like we're at the Grand Canyon. All right, look at it. Cool. All right. I'm totally not calculating the drive back, you know,
It's
like
my
it's,
whole life.
you know what I mean?
I think it's my whole life. I'm like, I think in 2 years I'll appreciate all of it. And it's like I always do 2 years later. Everything. Um, and like it, if I don't give myself that like pep talk days before leading up to it, I'm
Yeah.
so screwed. It's like I abandoned myself before I got to the holidays and I'm there like alone without like this other person that's like talking me through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like we have this like rally a week beforehand. I'm talking like Schmiegel. But like I seriously do like it's like don't you're like a guest. Like you're not in charge of anything. Like just float along this.
Yeah.
Like it should be hard for you to find things to complain about, even though it's so easy for me to always find things to complain about. It's like I have to like just erase it all and just not be cynical, funny, always trying to like find the what's wrong, John, and be I don't know, just like a dad.
Yeah.
And it's weird, man. It's so weird, just kind of like handing over. I don't know what it is, like your insecurity, your ego. I don't know what it is, but it's just like
You're probably on the mark. Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I can't do anything. I really can't do much, and I think just like almost wanting to tattoo that on my arm on the way down there. Like let Heather have the freakouts. Like
Yeah.
I'm not raising my voice
Yeah.
the whole time.
I think some of the problem is you don't think, at least I don't know, this is the way I sometimes think about things, is that I think I'm not going to make anything better, but I can sure as hell ruin everything. Right? Like it's a very one-sided thing. Like I'm not going to walk into this and it's like and someone's going to hold me by the shoulders at the end and be like, "You made this. Thanksgiving to remember." You know, like I'm not going to recite, you know, poetry or something in like the perfect moment and everyone will just like slow clap, right? Like those moments don't matter, right? But
There's
or
two.
don't happen. Right?
There's two like I guess analogies that these two different comedians make about a dad being a dad. Chris Rock, he's like, you're the tambourine man. He's like, you don't really need to be in the song, but you're there, and you do add a little, but you're not really necessary. You're not even close to being the drummer or the lead singer or the lead guitarist. You're the tambourine man.
Yeah.
And then someone else I forget was like, you're the backup quarterback. You're on the team, and when you're put in charge, everyone's really nervous.
Yeah. I I feel like I'm the person who's putting the music sheets in front of the musician, and the musician just keeps playing. So all I can do is put it in there, and the only best thing that can happen is that the music plays. But the worst thing that can happen is that drop one of the papers and the music stops, I put up the wrong page and the wrong music plays. So, right, so it's like there's this ceiling of the performance, and then at the end of it, I have to turn and clap for the person who played the music as well. So
Right. Without you, they wouldn't know what to do,
yeah.
and then you have to applaud them for doing it.
Yeah, and so that's the best thing about kids, because as an adult, like, we'd look at the situation like that, but then the kids will just turn to you at some point and go just like, "Hey, thanks a lot for that. I really had a great day today," and like you're like, "Great, I can't wait to come in tomorrow and throw more music sheets
I
in front." You're just like ready, like it's just that little tiny bit
know.
is just enough.
The ratio and the power of their positive to like the negative things. It's wild, and it's like they could like Hannah. It's like she didn't even say anything, but this look she gave me that I've never seen, where she was so like she believed what I said, and she was so happy. She like got me a present,
Oh, nice.
For Christmas or maybe Hanukkah, and it was cool. She was like given money and like a budget, and she got everybody a gift, and even herself a few. And she got me something that like I knew was like, oh, I've been wanting to buy myself one of these, and I'm just too lazy
Drop an
and
F-bomb right in the middle of
yeah. I was like, oh, Hannah, I really need one of these, and I could tell she like believed me, and was so like stunned that she actually got me something that wasn't like a BS kid thing.
right.
I mean, it was like a post-it note case with a calendar. Like you opened it and there's a calendar, a little thing for post-it notes, and a pen holder. And it's just something that I need like all the time. Just a pen and paper that I can write, and I always need to know what date is next with my nurses and
Yeah.
their assignments. So it was genuinely like, oh my god. So I was like, you can do whatever you want tonight. Like, do you want 8 Oreos? Go ahead. Your bitchy
Carte
attitude
blanche.
from
Yeah.
an hour ago was completely
Yeah.
forgiven when you
All
threw
forgiven.
that thing at me.
Yeah. You hit the mark.
Yeah,
That's awesome, though.
I
It's fun.
know.
It's fun when they do stuff without you having to yell at them to do it. And so
That's the
I think that's why as dads we enjoy gifts and nice words from them so much. Not that I don't think their their mother doesn't enjoy getting that as well, but I feel like it's kind of more of a unique gesture to us, and so then it's like you're like I don't know, it's just way more impactful because we also didn't have to yell at them to do it. It's not like, hey, say thank you. It's not like when you're at like a store or something like that and somebody brings them whatever they ordered,
what
and
do
you're like, oh, say thank you, up, like, remember your manners, like you
what do
do all
we
these things,
say?
right? So if you're just sitting there and they're like, hey, thanks, Dad, you're like, yeah,
I
all right.
know,
That didn't come
especially
from anywhere. That came from like the universe, like some cosmic dust shot, like alpha wave hit their brain and was like, say it,
response.
and response.
And it's like that path in their brain now is like becoming like grass isn't growing anymore. It's just
Yeah.
all dirt, shortcut. Like it's just there. My Heather's like, why do they like to watch the same thing over and over? I'm like, do you remember being a child? I'm like, you stick with the same movie for like a year.
Oh yeah. And then you
And
drop it. And you drop
yeah,
it like a rock.
then you hate it. No.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's all that does. It just like solidifies those tunnels of like whatever the hell they're learning or whatever
Yeah.
the terms that they're taking from it and using in regular life.
No, I mean, yeah, I remember watching the same thing. I think as they get older, it switches a bit faster. Because because like
Yeah.
even Leo now, like last year he was all Thundercats and stuff, and now he's all like baseball, football, and he's not even really like that much NASCAR anymore, you know. So it's like I don't know, it just kind of changes so quickly.
What how old is he again?
He's 6.
Oh yeah, he's
He'll,
so
he'll be
close.
he'll, he'll be 7 soon.
And Hannah will be 6 soon. So they are like a year apart. When is his birthday?
March,
Isn't
right
it
by
close?
yours. Yeah, it's
Yeah, isn't
close
it
by
close to
yours.
mine?
Yeah, yeah. So,
Okay. Um, yeah, so he's less than a year older than Hannah. That's crazy.
yeah.
I'm sure we've talked about this before. Um, yeah. What were we talking about? I got stuck on his age and, math. Everything just
No, just
shuts down.
no,
The
just how.
brain's like, we're going to try and do math.
Like, why did you say math?
Oh, they're trying to hold all the numbers together and
Yeah,
it's
hath September.
all the rest of
Um,
the information fell.
yeah. No,
When they
he.
do things without you, like, telling them to do.
Well, and
Um,
he switches around. Like their interest switches around. So yeah, I remember. Like
almost 7. That's when
why
I would
we
play
watched like
baseball.
6 months, 7 months of like Moana, and then that was done, and then it was like a whole year of the Trolls movie, and then that was done.
I
Now I
love
don't even know what movie they'd be on. I'm trying to like pick the next one. I don't even want to like show them something that I don't want to watch, because I don't want it to get them into that or something like that. So I'm
My kids
surprised.
are so like not movie watchers, and it's like scaring me. I mean, I know they're still young,
Yeah, I think it's just the young thing.
yeah, but I'm like, I wonder, if this generation will be like like the least knowledgeable film people because what they are entertained by is not this sit down for 2 hours and
Yeah,
watch one thing. It's a little, I don't know.
it
I don't
might. I
know if that's
mean, yeah.
something that every generation's worried about, or if that is a new thing.
No, I mean, I definitely get worried about it. Just because you can kind of see their brains firing off and stuff like that. And when you take, like we haven't played video games in a long while, and like during COVID we played Ocarina of Time, and it was fun. But we set like a timer on it. We did it, like normally like before dinner or after dinner or something like that, or on the weekends. And I tried to like limit it because every time we stopped, it was just that scene from Lord of the Rings when Bilbo is like reaching for, he's like, oh, my old ring, and he's like and he does like that thing, like that's the face that they would make, and I'm like, whoa, like no, this isn't
Oh,
like you need to be able to walk away, right? Like
right.
so
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna do this thing and then we're gonna walk away. And I think they've been like better with movies and shows, like I think it's really just the amount of like content there is. It's
Yeah, I
it,
know.
it can be short, but it can be like soulless too, right? And like,
So soulless.
but you could watch like an episode of Bluey, and there can be like a huge amount of emotion packed into like a 7-minute
Yeah.
show,
Oh, yeah.
where even at the end you're like, oh, I forgot how this
I
one ended,
know. It's
you know?
adorable, the damn show.
Yeah. And
I
so
love their accents.
sometimes that's kind of, uh, I think they'll be able to still identify quality because I think that's built into us. I think when you watch a show and it's not quality, even you're like, all right, like I can't. I'm just gonna
Oh,
walk away
dude.
from this. Like I
Yeah,
can't.
I'm like, we're waiting for something to happen, and that's the trick.
Yeah,
Nothing happens.
nothing. Yeah, nothing.
There's no
Like
there's
you can tell when
nothing.
something's. It's just
It's the Kardashians. They like, and it's so funny because she just like was quoted like, we cheated the system or whatever, and it was like, yeah, they did, because the whole thing was like you're waiting for something to happen, and nothing
I
really
don't
ever
know,
does.
and I'm not saying this to be like I don't know. I don't know like anything about the Kardashians except for like one of them dated Kanye or something.
Yeah, I mean, what I know
And
is like,
I'm not saying that like when I thought Kanye West was a Western bar in Quakertown. Like I I did think that like that was true.
Roadhouse West.
I'm like, why is everybody talking about this
I remember.
bar? But I don't really know much about them. I know like they're plastic, and I think I knew like Joe Rogan's
You
jokes
know
about them and
all
stuff.
there is to know about them. Like
That's
what
it.
you know,
That's all you need to know.
the thumbnail of information that you know, that is it. That's
But they
all
had
there
like a
is to it.
reality show or something
Yeah,
where,
right? Yep.
and that was like,
A reality show.
I'm sure things happened in
It
that
was
show,
popular.
right?
Right? Like things kind of happen, maybe.
Was it kind of like the Osbournes, like how things kind of happened, but it was mostly just an old man trying to pick up dog poop for like 45 minutes, and then you watch that whole thing, and you're like, why am I?
The show had one thing. One of the he like married in. He was like an alcoholic. So he was a little nuts and he was crazy, like sober or drunk. And
Yeah,
he was like the circus part of it. And girls copy them. So
yeah,
that was the whole thing, but it was just there was no effort.
yeah. It was just being
Just
there,
put me on a camera.
right? Yeah, that makes sense. I mean I mean that's kind of what like the VH1 and Bravo was like devolving into.
I know. And even like the Learning Channel,
That
now it's like the Freak Show.
it was
Everything's
never.
weird.
It stopped being the Learning Channel in like 2004 or
Yeah,
something. Like it
maybe
started
even before that.
once they had like John and Kate plus eight, and then I think it was on there, and then it was like a just they just started tacking on all the shows.
Right, like the 12 homeschooled Mormons that like half of them were like sex trafficking, of course.
Yeah,
It's like God, what are you doing? The Learning Channel.
yeah. No, it
I'm
fell off real
I'm
fast.
learning, but not.
Like just put Mr. Wizard on loop and walk away. Like just Mr. Wizard, Bob Ross, loop,
Bill
go.
Nye.
Bill Nye. Yeah.
Who else? I saw that. There was another
I've been showing the kids Beekman's World. They've been
Beakman's World.
yeah.
That's what I was just gonna say. It
Yes.
was him, a girl, and like this man rat.
Yeah, because we were watching the movie Airborne, which is like the most '90s movie a '90s movie could get. Maybe Clueless, but Clueless is again that's just
Right.
Jane Eyre.
Is right.
So
Yeah.
so
The
so
remake.
so I don't think there's anything that is as like it captures the boredom of the '90s,
What is it
which
called? Airborne.
Airborne.
Dude, I think I loved that movie.
It's a fantastic movie. Jack Black's first movie, actually.
Oh no way.
Yeah, he's like a little child in it.
Seth Green. Yeah.
But I think he's like 30 somehow in it still. Like it's still something weird. And it might be Seth Green's first movie too. I don't know. Maybe his first big one.
I
But
remember this movie. They skateboard or they rollerblade and they
it
like
was
race.
rollerblading. Yeah.
They raced. Oh yeah, it was good for that time.
So Kelly had never seen it, so I had showed it to her, and the girl in that is the first girl. She gets replaced later on, but she's the first girl in Beekman's World. And so after we watched that, I was like, I know her from something, and I'm like, I think she was in Beekman's World. So then I got the kids Beekman's World, and that show's
Yeah.
pretty good. It's pretty. I mean, that's like you need to have a bowl of cereal if you're going to watch that show. Like I can't understand watching that show without having a bowl of cereal, and it has to be like
And the
Fruit
box.
Loops or something. Yeah, like you
Apple
just need to
Jacks.
be like shoveling it in as you're watching them because it's so zany and the sound effects, and then the adult jokes are awesome in it. Like they're just so funny. Like one guy's just a giant rat.
Brittany Powell played Nikki.
Was that her name?
I guess so. Well, it looks like she's still doing stuff. Um,
Yeah, I think she was in like a recent trailer too. I think I saw her in some other movie, like recent.
so who did you say? Beekman's World,
Beekman's World, yeah.
Mr. Wizard, Bob Ross.
Yeah.
Who else? Pee Wee Herman.
Pee Wee's Playhouse was awesome. I mean,
Dude, I never experienced a more like come down from a high than when Pee Wee would like get his scooter and it was like, oh no, the
oh my
episode's
gosh, yes, that was
over.
the absolute.
I
He'd
wanted
pull
to
the
jump
thing,
off a cliff.
and they.
Dude, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, like it was worse than Lost for me. I was like, no, oh no, everything now will suck from
I think,
henceforth.
and I think it was always like right after a commercial break, there was maybe like 20
Yeah.
seconds of
Yeah.
talking, and then he would walk over and pull that crank, and you're
Yes.
like, oh no, like,
The
what am I going
words
to
would
do
come
with the
out.
rest of my day? Like, it's just,
I always wanted it to like him to be like scoot fly, and then the words wouldn't come up, and he would like land somewhere, and the show would keep going.
there was one where it was a
Yeah,
fake out ending, I
yeah,
remember.
I
And
remember
I
that
was
too.
like, oh my gosh, it's happening. Like,
I remember that too. I think that did
yeah.
happen once.
Yeah, I think there was a fake out where like his bike wasn't there or something like that. But then it was like resolved very quickly. Like, oh, the King of Cartoons has it. Ah.
Yeah,
And
right.
then
Like it wasn't. Yeah, right. I remember.
they're like, we're not going to do new clay animation. You're going on the bike. You're flying off of the thing. So whatever it is, it just has to end with you flying out of the playhouse on a bike. But
Right.
there
So
must
you
have
got
been
to
so
get
much
back.
time put into that because it was like
So detailed.
those intros were all clay animation and
Dude, the puppets and
the
the and the
puppets.
the,
Yeah.
the, the actors who were the makeup and like the shit, the stuff going on outside. I God, that show was a
Yeah.
dream, and it was funny because it was originally like a rated R stage performance.
Is that how it started or is that how it ended?
That's how it started, and then
Oh.
they turned it into a kids show.
Yeah, but then they did that later as an R-rated one again, right?
Right, it was like a return, like a
It's so
reboot.
funny. But yeah, I
I love
mean,
people.
that's how it works. I guess I mean I've seen online that there's like people doing stage performances of like R-rated Dora the Explorer and stuff like that. So I guess that's just like a thing,
Oh, really?
to like switch back and forth between you hacking the
Yeah,
mainframe.
yeah. Right now,
Am I renting a car right now?
don't I sound like Microchip from Punisher? I can't get in. What is Dora's gender? Her name ends in an A. Obviously, a boy.
The Dora the Explorer movie was pretty funny. When the kids watched that because it kind of makes fun of itself in like the first 10 seconds, which was like really funny. Because
Yeah,
like
I remember kind of liking it.
yeah, because like the girl like comes up and she's like, "Can you say that?" And the parents are like, "Who the hell is she talking
Oh
to?"
yeah,
Like yeah,
Ava Longoria and Pena, Michael
yeah,
Pena.
yeah,
They were her parents. That's what like carried me through it.
yeah. It was good. I mean that's kind of what you need to do, with
Yeah,
any of those movies. Just like the Brady Bunch movie, just like Barbie. Like you need to like joke on it to just be like, "Hey, relax, like calm down.
this is make believe.
This is make believe."
A reminder. This is make believe. I'm bummed that everyone's saying Napoleon's kind of not that good.
I know. Yeah, Kelly really
Yeah.
wanted to go see it. I haven't, for some reason, my dad instinct. I think I'm still more like World War II brain. So,
What do you mean?
like, as far as my chosen historical moment, like, I'm still very in depth into World War II and like all the complexity of that.
Yeah, same
I'm
here.
like in the 1930. I'm like in the 1925 to like 1950 right now in my
It's
dad
weird.
brain.
I've been like, I mean, I haven't been, but like not too long ago, I watched like a couple documentaries on like Hitler, Bin Laden, and Putin, and like how they did what they did and how they rose, and it's all the same. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it's wild to be like we're just gonna take over the world.
the wild thing is that they didn't
They're
do
not
it like alone.
right.
Like
I
that's
know.
that's the wildest part when everybody's like, "Man, that one guy was really bad. I'm really glad we got rid of him." And it's like,
Yeah, he had like a crazy army and all these
yeah.
people building stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the only reason they didn't build the bomb faster is because he hated Jews. He thought it was Jew science.
Well, yeah. And like they said, it's like some of his decisions weren't strategic for winning a war, they were strategic for maximizing the amount that he could kill, which is not like if you want to win a war and you've got a whole bunch of prisoners, you would put them to work to make more tanks and
Yeah,
things like that.
yeah, yeah.
You've got free labor at that point, right?
Slaves.
But instead you kill them.
Right.
So it's
Dumb.
like you just got to think about his like psyche behind it. It's just like
Oh, he's nuts.
the watching the Downfall movie was pretty good. It was it
Downfall?
was intense, yeah.
What was that? What is that?
It's like the
Wait. What's downfall? Loudest keyboard.
hi. I'd like a I'd
There's
like a flight to Phoenix, please.
a squirrel under my desk foraging.
It's like a mechanical keyboard.
Downfall.
I think it's Downfall or it's down. Not Downfall. It might be
Ulrich
like
Matthews.
down.
I'm just looking for names that you would recognize. This cast is not well known.
It's down something. Is it Downfall or is it
There is
down?
a 2004 film, Downfall, starring Bruno Ganz. Like no
No,
one
no, no.
we know. Who's in it? Gotts Otto. He was in it. Achoo! Achoo! Bless you.
It might not be called Downfall. It might be called something else. Hold on. Let me see.
Elena Drayden. What's she from? She.
Yeah, it is called Downfall. Yeah, 2004.
Yeah, nobody I recognize
They're
in
great
the,
in it.
in the cast.
Everybody, nothing pulls you out of it. And it's just like him, like in his bunker, in like the last few days before he's like about to, and like some of his generals that are out in Berlin, and it's just nuts.
Oh, is it about Hitler's last days?
Yeah,
I think I remember someone talk. This movie podcast I listened to. I think I remember them talking about it,
yeah. I,
mentioning it, and I
I
was
mean,
like,
I
"Ooh, there's a
don't.
movie about Hitler's last days."
Yeah, it's really
That's
good,
interesting.
but it's like, I mean, it's tough to watch. It's really tough to watch.
I'm really crappy with tough to watch these days.
Yeah.
I tried watching The Bad Surgeon, this documentary on Netflix
Hmm.
about this surgeon that like would put like plastic in people with throat cancer and their own stem cells and paint over the stem cells so that it would grow in it. Anyway, this guy gets it. He's got a daughter, and once the daughter like showed up in the documentary, I was like, nope, I can't watch it. Like, I can't enjoy this because I
Yeah.
instantly put myself
I stopped
like, oh,
like Black Mirror the same way when there was the little girl episode. I was like, nope, I'm out. Like I can't like I can
yes.
watch people's heads explode. I can watch like, people get turned inside out. I can let my fantasies run wild, but I could not like finish the episode with the little kid.
Me neither.
Yeah.
The like true crime, because I mean, I'm sitting at my desk all day. I'm sending emails and text messages, and no one. Hello, hello, who's calling, please? No one does that. Uh, so I'm constantly listening, mostly
Yeah.
to either podcasts or like a true crime, and it's like I always want the one where like the wife killed the husband. I don't want to hear about like a girl getting kidnapped. Like a
Right.
young
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
None of that. Like I can't enjoy it. It's just too brutal because when they talk to the parents, I'm like, oh God.
Yeah. I
How,
mean,
how are you even sitting there?
I don't know. I
How are
think
you just talking?
how do you just not become Batman at that point? Like that's
Yeah,
the
I
that's the
know.
thing I don't
For
get.
real.
I'm like I would just start like making batarangs. They're
I'm
like
a vigilante now.
yeah, just come out of my
Yeah.
basement.
I'll kill bad people until I get arrested or die.
Yeah, I mean what else? Because they're our favorite people in the world. That's the
Right.
tough part about it.
Yeah, we made them to replace us.
And yet we yell at them all day long.
Well, right. I know. It's like I'm yelling at you and it took me 40 years to get to the conclusion to yell at you. So how the hell would you even understand?
Yeah.
why, it's like, and I can't get out one sentence because I know you're going to interrupt me.
Right. I mean, I guess one thing I've been trying to work on is noticing when I'm not upset with them, like they're doing something good, to say that they're doing something good, because I
Oh
don't
yeah.
remember hearing that. I heard that on like big achievements, but I don't think I heard that as much like in those little moments where it's like,
Yeah, that
hey,
was
like good job doing that, and not, complaining. Like thanks for cleaning up your plate. Like that was awesome.
so weird. Speaking of Betty, she is, I
Making
guess,
you tuna.
FaceTiming me right now.
Yeah, answer. Let's go. Three-way.
Let me turn it down so we're not dead. Mom, did you butt time me? Face dial me? Oh, hey,
Yeah, it would be butt time.
hold on a sec.
Yeah.
I'm putting you on speaker. I'm doing the podcast with Agnew right now. You're live.
Oh, shoot.
I knew
Watch your
you would.
language.
Bye.
What do you? Is everything okay?
Well, I just wanted to
9:30.
was it Wawa or 7-Eleven? You snuffed out too.
Why am I getting like years later? I'm still
Trick question.
feeling the wrath.
It's a trick question.
Obviously, John made me go.
That I can't remember. Was it 7-Eleven?
Both.
Not really. Not really. We never walked all the way up to 7-Eleven. I mean, to Wawa. I mean,
I did. I went to Wawa one time.
Uh-oh.
I
Bye.
didn't. I
Love
didn't
you.
go to Wawa.
Yeah, I went
We
to
just went to
Wawa
Seven.
with. We went to Wawa with Tom, like with Williamson, because
Yeah.
it's sort of closer
Oh yeah, because you branch through his and then come up
and
the
just
other.
go down. Yeah, it's just closer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I guess. I mean, it's still far. That was
Such
dumb.
freedom, though. That was dumb.
That's all it was, man. It was all just like, I'm not supposed to be, but I'm doing it. And it's pretty, like, God, Chalfont, Pennsylvania.
Now, are you going to
There's been
use?
0 drug overdoses in that city, town.
There's been 0 drug overdoses in Chalfont.
Up until I moved out. Actually, also not true.
There has to be.
I always forget about UNAMI. Are they Chalfont or are they Shalbrit or whatever you were? Where did you live?
New
It wasn't
Britain.
like Doylestown, New Britain.
Yeah. Shalbrit was just the combination of Chalfont and New Britain, like for like sports teams. So it was called Shalbrit for that.
Oh, right.
Right. Not New Chalfont.
Right. Weird. It's so funny. No one ever explained that to me until right now.
Well,
Thanks.
I was always surprised that we were saying Lenape wrong the whole time.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like a lot
Lenny.
of people I've and I don't know why it's coming up in so many conversations recently, but people are coming up to me and being like, "Well, the Lenape people." And I was like, "What?" Can you imagine? Like
Lenny Lenape.
like I try to rewrite the word, like the phonetics of it into my childhood memories, and it's like really hard to fit in. To be like, "Hi everyone, welcome to the Lenape Valley." Like it's like I just don't hear it, like because
Lenape.
you heard Lenape so many times.
I know. My God, Lenape. Like, what a weird word. It always was like, yeah, I guess it's like some family or so. Oh, no, wait. It's like a Native American tribe. And
They
we
were here.
just took their name and slapped it on our city.
Well, we remembered the
And we're
vibe. I mean,
going to
it's like,
pronounce it wrong.
that's the thing.
Lenape.
But then how did they pronounce it? Like they didn't have English, right?
It's tomato. It's
Yeah.
like George R. Martin says. He's like, you can pronounce it however you pronounce it. Like tomato. Like, just, it doesn't matter.
And
Everyone
it's-
knows what you're saying.
It's still coming out with a Philly accent, so it's not like I'm saying it right anyway. Like somewhere it's
Sauce and gravy. I know what you're talking about.
no, sauce and gravy is serious. We got in like a screaming match in like college, me and my roommates about that.
Well, I remember
But basically, it's very simple.
a podcast, and I remember how you explained it to me. Let's
Yeah.
see. And this was
Good.
like 12 years ago. So let's see if you give me the same
Go for it.
explanation.
Yeah, I probably will because whenever I would listen back to the podcast, I was like, oh, I wish I had commented. And as I say, I wish I had commented, like in my head, and I start saying the comment, I in unison with my past self, I say the same exact thing. So as much as I would like disagree with myself on many topics, it's like my brain still operates and fires exactly the same way. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, do you remember?
No, yeah, I remember. I want to see if you do.
Oh yeah. So I mean, the main difference is if
It makes sense.
it has meat in it or not. If it has meat in it, it's gravy. Like you put gravy on meat. Like if it's a red sauce
Turkey.
and you are putting meatballs in it, it's gravy. But if you're just making red sauce and
With
spaghetti, then it's sauce, right? So
Oh,
so it's not gravy until you put some meat in it. If you don't have any meat in it, it's not gravy.
okay.
That was the where we landed.
Okay. Yeah, I remember you breaking it down. But before, like, first you were like, I was like, what's, I was like, it's not gravy, it's sauce. And you're like, no, it's gravy. I'm like, well, then what's the brown stuff? And you're like, it's gravy. And I'm like, then what's the red sauce? And you go, it's all gravy, John. And I was like, don't vortex me. You're like, it's meat. It's a meat thing. Meat is gravy. Sauce is sauce. I was like, okay. Oh, um, yeah. So
How I get you a chair for Christmas this year?
yeah, that's what I should ask for.
You really need a chair.
Because
Get
I
a chair.
saw cheap like gamer chairs at an Office Depot. I went there to look for.
There have to be offices closing like left and right around you too. Like there has to be like brand new but never used and having to be sold offices. Like offices are closing around everywhere. Like if you go on like Facebook Marketplace or something like that, there's too many to choose from because they're just like, hey, we've got like 1,000 chairs.
Maybe that's my problem. I'm like, I'll get to it. And like
Your spine.
I don't. Yeah, I know it, but I don't work from home enough to where I'm like super urgent about it. And I can last for like 2 hours before I gotta like get up. Today was one of those days, dude, where I was like, I have to be a landscaper, or like I hate
Yeah.
just sitting still. I can feel myself just like aging because I'm not moving around.
Yeah.
Because the minute I get up and move around, like when I get home and like I have to like do all the trash and shit, I like wake up.
Yeah.
I hate that. It's
There-
annoying.
that like physical labor of just like cleaning
Sitting
up the
still.
yard or something like that. It really does feel so good, and it's like such a small accomplishment, like just to go do that. But yeah, it's like that first step, and yeah, like I'm always in this room. I'm in this room like all day, so that's why I put like
Are you really?
the weights and stuff back here. But so I try, but it's but
Yeah,
but then again, I live in a 4-5 story house, so I just all I have to do is forget things on the first floor, and I've got my steps in for the day. Like I have to be like up, da, 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 da. So like if it wasn't for this house, I would be probably like 500 pounds, like
Wally.
just running up and down, just getting the steps in all day long.
I know.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, and I have to like, and that's the thing. Like, I get home and I'm like itching to be, do something active. It's like meditation for me. It's like an anxiety pill. It's like if I don't go and get like sweaty, I'm like I'm jumping out of my skin. I like can't relax, or I gotta go to sleep. Like there's no like in the middle, and I have this what the hell is it called, like raising desk or
yeah, standing desk. Yeah.
standing desk, yeah. And it's just in my trunk, and I just keep forgetting it every single
Oh
day.
yeah, this one's one. I got this during
And
COVID when things were all shutting down, so it goes up and down.
And the days that I remember it, my back's just too sore. And your mine isn't as cool as yours. It doesn't like go zzz. You have to like
No, I was making that.
clamp things and like.
I
Oh,
was
you
making
were?
that. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, God, it's so good. I totally believed it. Yeah.
No, I mean I got this used though. Like I buy like everything used. Of course, I'm
I
also well. You've got the FAU there, right? So like the students have to be like dropping chairs and stuff all over the place, like when they leave for the summer,
Or
right?
for Christmas.
Or for Christmas. Well, they normally don't throw out all their chairs at Christmas though.
Oh yeah, go for
Oh,
it.
but they might get new ones, and then yeah,
Right, if they're gamers
yeah. There's just like
or IT students.
desks and chairs as far as the eye can see here with Penn students, and like sometimes there's like entire like living room sets. You know, like if you really like people are actually like they park on the street like waiting for somebody to bring something out so they can take it. It's kind of crazy. Like I think some people make their whole livelihood of the year like based off of what these kids throw out. Because these are
Oh
all
man.
like they're all like loaded kids, you know. So
Right.
not all
I
of them, not all
know.
of them. I'm not saying that, but there's a good amount of loaded kids, you know.
And I
So
bet a decent amount of the chairs aren't like destroyed enough to where you can't like,
no, they're like brand new.
clean them.
No,
But you know,
they're brand new. Like the desks are brand new. Like it's just because they have rentals and a lot of them live abroad or a lot of them live here and they just leave and then they just put it outside. It's nuts. It used to be like big. They would turn into big trash piles, but now they've this year they
what?
put big containers out, and they could bring them, and then there were volunteers that were taking them and putting them in, and then donating them to places that needed them. So that was good.
Ah.
But
Yeah, I
but
was gonna say it's such
I
a
was,
fucking
I was
waste.
like, that's great, except for the picker in me was like, ugh.
What do you mean the
like
picker?
like
Trash picker?
I wanted to pick through their trash.
And I'd be like,
Like
there's some treasure in here.
could have used that lamp. Like, where's that lamp going to?
I could use that
I
lamp.
could use
It's
that.
too dark in the one room.
Yeah.
I know. I do that too. Like whenever I walk on trash nights. Pardon me, disgusting. Uh, Whenever I walk around on trash nights, I always like, and I'm like,
Oh my
I could
gosh.
do something with that shelf, but I can't.
Yeah. I mean, there's also the gross factor of it. There is a gross factor of it, but
Oh yeah, that too. I'm like, I'm gonna bring it into my house. I'm gonna put it up to my room, and then underneath is gonna be like a wasp nest, or
yeah.
like something really disgusting,
I always try to
something
think.
worse.
I always just try to think of like everything that went on in like a college apartment, and then think like, no, you're like, I don't want any of that. Like, there's not enough disinfectant in the world to make me think that is
That's
that's
what I'm
acceptable.
saying. I'm like, I
And
wonder how gross those chairs would be because I remember the damage I did to everything around my computer area. Like,
yeah,
remember my computer had like black lung when I gave it to you, and we didn't smoke cigarettes in my dorm.
yeah.
It's like, what was I breathing?
What was-
We would drive when we would smoke pot. We
oh,
wouldn't smoke in the dorms.
yeah. So what was
That's
clogging?
so disgusting.
Yeah.
Like they never would change the filter, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was probably like those ceiling filters that nobody like. Oh, wait, we were supposed to be changing those. Like
Ah,
this building got built in the '80s.
it's like the RA that like got kicked out mid semester was supposed to like make sure they got changed.
Yeah, and they never brought a new guy in
No, or told them.
or told them that he left. Yeah, oh man, but it's an option. I mean, like, get a chair is where I'm going with that.
I know. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm really good at remembering things at just a time where I'm not able to accomplish them, and then I'm like, well, hopefully I'll remember it when it's convenient.
So
And I'm never like, all right, I'm gonna go and do that thing that will pay off in a week now. That's what I suck at the most.
yeah.
Uh, Planning for the future.
Well, you've got your post-it note um, thing, right? So
I'm telling you, that's gonna pay off. That thing
that so
somehow.
so 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 just set it for like on a Monday say I'm getting a chair by Friday, and then
I'm
just
gonna I'm gonna drive through FAU, because I got to be specific. If I just am general about it, there's excuses lined
I
up.
don't know if FAU works the same as UPenn, so I don't know. I don't know if that's the same thing. Like I don't know if they're dropping chairs, but there's got to be offices closing somewhere. Like offices are closing like crazy. Like if you go online and just kind of look for something, it's like who needs 10 like old Epson projectors? I'm like, why on earth would anybody need 100 old Epson projectors?
Oh,
Like they just have
wow.
old, like it's just whatever they had 100 of. Like they're just clearing it out.
It's like that scene in Back to the Future when all I guess what they thought CDs were going to look like, big
Right.
records, like
Yeah.
in the trash in like the back of the building. It's
Yeah.
like we don't use these anymore.
Well, they were like the laser discs, right?
We made too many. Yeah,
remember those? Yeah.
laser discs. God, did you ever watch anything on Laserdisc?
Yeah. My neighbor had one, and we watched Terminator 2 on it, which was like pretty. Like I don't know if there's a more perfect movie.
I watched Top Gun.
Yeah.
So I was gonna
Oh,
say
Top Gun
like
would be
Top
awesome.
Gun and Terminator 2 though. That's better.
Yeah.
Uh, wow.
I
Yeah,
forget.
that was funny. That was such a quick thing.
We had one at work. I don't remember. There was one movie in it. Watch. It was probably like Star Wars, and I probably was just like, meh, leave that there.
Right. Indiana Jones. Nah. It's funny. I'm watching us on live on YouTube, and there's like a delay. So like you'll be talking, and I'm looking at the delay like by accident, and I'm like, what is going on? Oh yeah,
John.
we have
Did you
four
see that there? Yeah.
subscribers. One watching right now. Oh wait, that's me.
Let's see if he comments. Um, the I tried that Star Wars thing because you can get the you can download like the fan made like recuts of the original trilogy where they piece it together and capture. I don't know if they're capturing the film, but it's like all these people working on it. I don't know how anybody has time to work on it, but
I know.
they piece it all together and then they come out with new versions of it. So it's like version 2 of Empire Strikes Back or something right now. And then they have versions that have like noise reduction and ones that don't have noise reduction. So it has all the grain in it that you would originally see.
Oh,
Like, do you really want it to
all
be
the
grainy and then, or do you want it to not? No. Like
the way
video noise,
right
like the
static.
speckles and
Right. Yeah.
static, yeah.
The literal dust.
And so yeah. So when you go to watch them, it's like the green Lucasfilm
Uh huh.
like it's not like the chun 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 with like the fancy Lucas logo that we're kind of used to at this point. Like you don't really remember like the green one, except for I think they reused it for the ending of the Clone Wars. They used like the green, like
Oh
just the
right.
black and the green font, like, but it's just it's like Arial. It's like basic
Yeah. Now
font.
it's like green, silver, gold, or it like changes.
Yeah, but so they go through and re-edit it, but it's like uncompressed and quite large. So it
Oh.
just the 1080p version's like 30 gigs. So I was like, this isn't gonna stream. So
What is
starts
different
choking
about
on it. That like
just like the way they look?
there's no
Special effects
there's
or
no there's no special
edition.
there's no special edition. There's no edits. There's no you know enhancements to the audio. It's like all exactly the way it would have been shown in the theater.
Han shoots first.
Han shoots first. I don't think Guido even shoots because I think Han just shoots him.
They take out the miss.
There's no miss because that was added. Yeah,
Oh. Oh.
yeah. I,
So dumb. It's so much cooler if you would just shoot him.
yeah.
He's a good guy.
And then there's like some where they were messing around with the what were they doing? Oh, where they were gonna like another person's like working on like the special edition added scene where Han sees Jabba, but then they have the thing where he like has to like step on his tail and he like goes up and then like comes back down. It's like or whatever. So somebody just took him and made him a
I hated it.
somebody, this is ingenious, right? So
Bottom boogie.
somebody just made him a hologram. So he's a hologram walking on like a little spider display thing. And so Han's just talking to the
Is it the puppet?
no, it's just like the like
CGI?
like the oh, you mean like what does Jabba look like?
Yeah. Is Jabba like the puppet and they just dubbed in different words? That's what they should have done.
I don't. He looked good, but it was the staticky,
Yeah, I
you
know.
know,
Yeah.
like blue.
Obi-Wan, help me, Obi-Wan. Oh,
Yeah.
you're my only hope.
But it was like the original Star Wars version of it, where it was like even like worse reception.
Way better idea.
Yeah. So that way he can walk behind him because there's no tail. It's
You
so
don't have to do
crazy
that.
that they didn't like think about that. They're like, oh,
It
like he sits on. It's
is.
like, well, let's spend 12 months making him stand taller
This giant slug.
over it, and it's like,
Like, first, let's make Jabba look nothing like he did in the other movies.
yeah.
And, God, it would have been so much
And they've
cooler.
enhanced that through the years too, so you could see like the first time that they did that, and then they've actually done it better. So it was actually worse before,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I know, and it's like he's not like intimidating. You know?
yeah,
He's not scary. He's like silly.
yeah.
That felt like that felt like the prequel just got shoved into the original trilogy. And I
But the
don't like-
hologram makes it a bit better because it kind of makes a bit more sense why Han was so like. Even I get bored at some time, like because if he really like owed him money and was really like frightened of him, like it seemed odd that he would like yell at him too,
Yeah, and like get in his
the
face,
dialogue. Yeah.
point, and you can see like his hand. It's
At
like,
least then it's more like Spider-Man yelling at Iron Man, like you're not even here,
right.
Yeah,
I saw the holdovers. I can't remember if we talked about it. Paul Giamatti and this kid who's never acted in anything, Dominic Sessa. He was awesome. I thought halfway through the movie, I was like, God, this guy is so good. What have I seen him in? And I look him up, and I'm like, I have seen him in nothing. He has never been in any movies.
that's cool.
I
I like unknowns.
He was incredible, dude. Like, just so believable. With his face, it was just, he could do so much. And Giamatti's just like, I love
He's
everything. He's in.
knocking it out of the park. Yeah,
Everything he's in, he's great. And it was one of those sad but happy Christmas movies where you laugh and it's not really a comedy, but there's some generic parts, but it was still enjoyable.
yeah.
And it was like 2.5 hours. Alexander Payne was the writer and director, and he's good. It was an enjoyable watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's next for us to watch.
Me neither. All right, Aquaman.
Yeah, not Aquaman. It's so sad. Like the whole DC thing is just like it's somehow sadder than Marvel still. Like still with everything else going on with Marvel, it's like just the look of it is wrong or something. Like
Yeah,
I don't know.
It feels like I don't even know. I can't even compare it to like somebody started it and then left it, and other people picked it up and started. It's almost like
It's not even that though. It's like
it's
there's
like someone made something 6 times, but the third time it was perfect. Just kept changing it and changing it and changing it, and it was like, "Yo, wait, back up! It's too late. You changed too much."
But I feel like it's like they focused on one part of something, and like I feel like it's like six people in a meeting, and they're like, all right, like we got Jason Momoa, right? And they're like, great, that'll be cool. He's strong. He can fill the shirt off quota. We have to outdo Thor for shirtlessness,
Right.
and then that'll be great. And they're like, okay, now like for story, what should we do? Well, we're thinking that their hair should be wavy underwater, and we should probably have a noise over everything they say.
Ugh,
And it's like,
no.
no.
All right.
Well, let's start with that. Like
How are you gonna get
that'll be
around
the beginning of our story, and we'll just figure out the rest later. And it's like that's like I feel like I honestly feel like they focused on underwater visuals more than anything else. Like because it was like
Right.
90% of the movie was just
That was all that
was just
mattered.
hair going like seaweed.
That was all that mattered. It was like,
I'm
how are
like,
they going to
just
do it? The hair's going to look so stupid. And they're like, no, they're going to CGI the hair to look totally real, a little wavy, like Moana's hair. And it looked fine. It wasn't like distracting enough. I mean, I definitely like, we watch movies kind of differently. So I'm like, whatever. It's not great, but whatever, good try. But then I like the idea how they made the little like holes or like little air bubbles so that they could like talk and it wouldn't be bubbly.
so
That,
that they would just
that
not
was
have
like
to do the. But
good
again,
work around.
they solved their own problem.
Thank you.
Like they made the problem.
Yeah, it's like
That's not inventive. You've just undone, like you just clicked undo
yeah,
for your whole like 6 months of editing people's hair to be wavy. Just say
right.
they're Atlanteans and their hair doesn't go wavy in water. Like there, we're done. Like their
Yeah.
hair's different. Like
Yeah.
it's over.
Yeah.
Like
There's so many like easy solves to like problems.
nobody's gonna care. Like just make it the same waviness as if somebody's flying through air. And if somebody wants to on YouTube wants to say that's dumb, their hair should be wavy, let them. But just come out with a better story too. I don't get the whole Black Manta thing. I don't understand. His revenge was so like all of the sudden. He was doing something wrong. He is the one who basically got his dad trapped. And then he's there. And then for some reason, Aquaman just stops being Aquaman in the middle of the scene and just walks away. And it's just like, what? Like, I sort of get it now. Like I'm upset. I understand why he's upset with him. Right. But he's upset with him because he's not being a superhero and saving his dad. And his dad was really Black Manta's fault. So it really just does. The whole scene just doesn't make any sense. And he's like, I'll get you, Aquaman. It's like,
I know.
what?
I know.
You might as well be mad at the manufacturer of the submarine. I don't understand what you're going after. Like,
Yeah,
but Aquaman's actions don't also make any sense either because he's just like, all right, bye.
yeah, it was
We're out of time.
they were like hoping everyone just got distracted by like the action and him ripping the door off, the submarine door off the hinges. It's like, oh, so strong. Oh, his dad died though.
Yeah, that's weird.
If he's so strong, he
Probably could have
saved him.
just picked up that pipe.
Saved him.
Seems so simple. I just think things need to just be thought
And
through
it's
a little
like-
bit more,
He has the black thing, trident. I'm like, oh my god! If I see another superhero movie just like Blue Beetle, it's like the bad guy is the
just the reflection, right?
right.
The shadow.
is the blue good guy, like the different colored good guy. I'm like, that's the staleness.
Yeah, at
You know?
least Lex Luthor wanted real estate. It had nothing to do with what Superman was after.
Right. He had an ulterior.
Until they somehow found a way to match that. They're like, oh, wait, Superman had that crystal. Let's make
Yeah.
Lex Luthor get that crystal
I
and
know.
then use Superman's thing to make real estate. I'm like, oh my God.
I know. I know, man.
You finally had it separated. Just stop.
I've been trying to like you know, learn the like fundamentals of like story writing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's just it. I just can't imagine how anyone comes up with an interesting character. You know what I mean? I'm like, everything I come up with, it's just already been done, or it's like another version of something I've already come up with, or something that's already been done.
Sure.
And I'm like, well, how do do you do an animal that talks, or do you create just a completely different creature, or do you just do a person? Do you a boy or a girl, young or old, middle, just like me, or the complete opposite? It must be like, and I'm looking at all these characters on my desk, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, uh, Beta Ray Bill. I'm like, how did these assholes even think that anyone would give a shit?
Well, they didn't. I
These
mean,
Jews, yeah, they didn't.
think how many things failed.
Right.
I still have my. Well, I don't know if I have it anymore, but I used to have a comic called like the Professional or something like that, or NFL Pro. He was a superhero. NFL Pro.
What?
I'm still upset about it.
What do you mean?
Because I went into the comic book store when I was like 13, and I was like, hey, I don't know what comic I want to get into, but I want to get into a comic and kind of just like invest in that comic. Like I want to get started on one, kind of basically what all the comic book places try to do every once in a while with their resets, right? They're like, if we start at one, then somebody will come in and start at one, and then they'll read it from then on, right? If they're not going to come in issue 675, right?
Right.
But so I came in and I was like, give me an issue 1. I want to like get started.
Oh, that's cool.
And they gave me NFL Pro.
Oh my God.
And it
Worst comic book store of all time.
It was
that employee's first day.
But
Didn't know anything about comics.
It was, but
English.
But here's the funniest thing.
NFL.
The kickoff comic had Spider-Man in it.
Of course.
So it was an ex NFL player who has a buddy who drives him around in a van, like just like a white one of those contractor vans, and he jumps out of the van in full red, white, and blue NFL gear, like
Patriots.
Just basically, but it has like a big NFL symbol, like on his chest.
Oh my God! Do you have a helmet?
Like he's sponsored. Yeah, he's got a helmet. He's got shoulder pads. He's got leg pads. I don't know if he has spikes on because he's on the sidewalk.
Blacktop.
And then he comes running out and he tackles the criminals. I guess hopefully they don't shoot him anywhere because nothing he's wearing will protect him from a bullet.
Or that they don't have superpowers also.
And yeah, no, he has no superpowers. He just, I don't even, maybe he did, but I'm pretty sure that he was just regular. And then Spider-Man comes and like meets up with him and he's like, hey, like it's really tough, getting started. So just keep it up or something like that. I'm like,
oh, jeez.
This is bad.
Oh my God.
I got home and I was like so mad. I'm like,
go back to the comic store and you're like, I would like to see the actual superhero that appeared in this comic book. Yeah, I would like to see his work.
Yes. Show me.
He seems way cooler.
But I mean, the thing is like, it was kind of the same thing as like Punisher-esque, kind of thing, like where there's just like, all right, here's the sidekick who drives them around. Here's the guy that does it. But it's like,
right.
And maybe there was like a bit of backstory to him, but like the real thing is like, the stories have been told over and over and over again, right? Like there's no difference, but it doesn't mean that they can't capture your imagination again. I mean, if you watch like Aragon, watch it. It's probably one of the most painful movies you can watch because it's identical to A New Hope. And I get that A New Hope is also identical to other movies or just any other hero's journey.
Top Gun Maverick.
But the hero's journey is like, it's there for a reason, right? Like there's certain things that you need to do to accept going on the adventure. Like everything is about going on the adventure. Like the Bible is about going on an adventure. Yeah. One of the funniest things I was looking at that, and Abraham in the Bible, it's like it's kind of a funny thing if you kind of just step back and look at like the high level comedy of the Bible, because he's like 50 something, living with his parents, right? He's like 56 or maybe he's like 60 or something, like living in his parents' basement.
There's some movie coming out called like The Book of Clarence, and I think it's like some sort of Bible comedy. I don't know. I just know that it has something to do with the Bible. And I was like, oh, wait a second. Okay. I am interested in this, but I haven't watched the trailer yet. I always felt like there was either like a really good or really funny movie or story in the Bible. And just like no one has made it yet for some odd reason. Like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, like those four could be, and then Psalms.
Well, that's kind of the same story. But
Psalms. Yeah, I know. And it could be from those four different perspectives.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Like, well,
Psalms could be an actual person.
Life of Brian did a pretty good job of capturing that. Have you ever watched Life of Brian, Monty Python?
Oh no. God, dude, some of their movies blend or like seem like the same one. I'm not sure.
I think you should partake.
I've heard of it. I've definitely heard of it. I thought
it's
it was
basically
something else.
the general idea is that he is. I mean, they got destroyed when it came out, like protests and everything, right? Like it was like sacrilegious. It was like, but it's comedy, right? And so it's basically like this guy Brian is born on the same day as Jesus, like just like a little bit down the block. And so like so like, you know, the three wise men show up and they're like, he is, you know, God and the Lord, and we've brought him presents. And
it's almost like if like the movies were about the humans who lived near the superheroes.
Yes.
You
right.
know?
Yeah. It's exactly
and it was a comedy. And how like their superhero-ness like gets in the way of them just having to try and do the 9 to 5 and get the kids and, you know, do the normal regular life.
That's where I think they messed up in Marvel, because I feel like one of the most interesting things of like Michael Keaton's character was the what is it called? The cleanup crew. I can't think of their name. Like it's like it was in the comics. Right, it was like Tony Stark and Kingpin formed it.
They were. I'll remember it. But yeah.
Anyway, they were like the guys that came and cleaned up afterwards, right? And that's how he got all like the tech and stuff like that. But I feel like that itself could have been like a really good movie, like just about the people that come and clean up like afterwards, right? Or, you know, or have like, I feel like that could have been more like the comedy one. And then I feel like you could have had, you know, other ones that were more like the Alex Ross Marvels, right? Where it was, like a priest traveling through time, seeing like the biggest events in Marvel history, you know, but then like seeing it from the perspective of like the little guy, you know, it's like, oh, look, like this building fell down, and, you know, all the people in that building are now dead.
Right.
You know, Submariner like got smacked into this building, and the fight went like 100 miles that way, but this building's still falling down and nobody caught it, you know, like it was kind of like a real world perspective. It's a tough thing to do.
Yeah, I know.
You know, but I thought that cleanup crew was one way to do it, right? They're like
damage control.
Damage control, that's right. Yeah, so they were like sawing through like all the those big like alien things from the first Avengers movie. It's like, you know, that seemed like a missed opportunity to me. I know they used it for
Chitauri
Vulture
tech
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Shocker.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm the Shocker. Oh.
Yeah.
He's awesome. Yeah, and he even like, you know, gosh, when he's like at home, like when he opens the door and it's like he's the dad. He's so scary in that like 15-minute part, even especially the car ride.
Scarier than any fight. Like
when he turns around and he's like, okay, like, oh God, yeah, better than any fight. It's like the most heart pounding scene.
Yeah, it's so good. and like the thing is like that's where that's what a lot of these things should be. You know, it should be these suspenseful scenes. It doesn't have to be like wham bam punch everybody. Like once you get into the wham bam punch, you need to kind of feel that pull, like you're losing it, like you're not making it, like there's some sort of clock ticking, and
Yeah.
you're about to lose. Like everything's against you. There's no possible chance you're gonna win.
It's Cap facing
Yeah,
the whole like army like by himself.
yeah, right. Yeah,
Right before on your left, you're
yeah,
like, oh god, I guess he's just gonna try and fight them all.
yeah. And you just
Um,
see like the bone coming out of his arm. He's like,
yeah. In the Marvels, there's like a thing that they like they start and finish like way too quickly. It's like a 10-minute little like thing where Carol, Captain Marvel is kind of like a bitch to Ms. Marvel,
hmm,
and is like, "Don't use your powers, like just stay here." And it's their first time meeting, and it's almost like, oh, when you meet your hero and they're like an asshole to you.
yeah,
I'm like, oh, drag that till like way later.
that's interesting.
And they
Yeah,
tied it up in the first 20 minutes. I was like, morons. Like they got
yeah,
over it. And I was like, I feel like this would be the scene at the beginning of the third act, but they did it at the end of the first.
yeah.
So the first 20 minutes is fun.
And they sort of avoided that. Like that sounds a lot like what was going on in the Doctor Strange movie, right? Even though because it wasn't really a Doctor Strange movie, but it was like
Right.
in the multiverse of madness. I feel like that dynamic got completely blown through too because she was she already was like obnoxious to Doctor Strange instead of being like. And then at the end, like it's like reversed. So at the end, he's like, "I believe in you," and she's like, "I can become a superhero and star power," right? Without like training or like just all of a sudden she understood because he was like, "I believe in you," like zombie me believes in you. Um, but at the beginning, she's like, I don't need your help. I don't need any." Like it would have been better if she was not bubbly in the beginning and was more like just get away
I
from me,
know.
like
I know.
just
Yeah.
blowing past him and having him like not letting her blow past, right?
Yeah.
Like
Like if
no,
she
like
was more doubtful and like quiet and like like held back instead of like, Spider-Man, does he shoot webs out of his butt? I'm like, she just met each other. Like, what the? She should be like so intimidated by Doctor Strange,
right.
and she's not, and I don't like it.
Or she should have been
Sam
she
Raimi
should have
sucks.
or she should have been fearful of him, right? Like
That's what I'm saying. She should be intimidated.
no, but I mean I feel like she should have been like deathly afraid of him.
Yeah, like what is he doing?
Like because like she should have been an omen that like he's kind of tagging along with her. Like we know he's the good Strange, right? But she's like, but she could have laid into him and like in every other multiverse I've gone to, you've tried to steal my power, right? Like just make
Oh
that the thing,
yeah,
right?
I know. Bring it up right away.
Like bring it up and like have him be like, whoa, no, I'm good.
I'm not going
Like
to.
I'm not going to. And it's like she's like, yeah, I've heard that before. Even like the closest I've gotten, like he just tried to take it too. And like kind of really lean into it, but make her like more mature on that level, like not
Yeah,
trusting and Strange, who's not trusting either, right? Like of almost anybody. It took him a long time. Like let's remember that was in his character to just do everything himself,
right.
right? Like they,
Yeah,
they they didn't really like lean into that where it could have been more like he probably took her power in every other position because he's always used to doing things himself. He would only trust himself to do the surgery. He was only going to do the surgery on like his own hand or something.
right. Yeah, he's like, what did they do? I should have done it myself.
Right. And so that should have been the character growth, right? Where
Right.
it's like, I'm going to, like you need to do it
Yeah,
for yourself. Like you need
right.
to build that confidence and you need to figure out how to make this work.
You lead the way.
You need to get past that B, like,
Right.
whatever that did.
What does she get afraid? What does she get scared of?
A bumblebee.
A bee.
At the end, she
Well,
should just be a beekeeper.
a mouse freed Ant-Man. So, but I think the Russo brothers just took it seriously, and also like were left alone and were allowed to kind of do whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
and
like that the rat saved Ant-Man though. Like
me
I'm not.
too. I have no problem with that at
No,
all.
but I mean,
Five
he
years.
looked at the 14 million
Oh right,
possible
it
futures,
happened.
right? And it's like there were probably futures where the rat didn't let him out, right? So you're looking at it like, oh, what are the chances of that? Well, we know exactly the chances of it, right? Because he looked at like 14.3 million
And it's like,
possible outcomes.
an abandoned vehicle within 5 years. If a rat doesn't crawl across it, then our rats are lazy.
Yeah,
You know,
it's fun though.
damage control. But yeah, it's weird what's going on there. Bob Iger thinks that he can like fix things, and it's like you're just general. You're making like these general comments. It's like there is no answer. Like
I
yes,
don't think
you
Bob
have to.
Iger's making. I'm sorry. Good. Sorry.
It's like yes, you can. It's like fishing. It's like you can make adjustments to your bait and your pole and blah blah blah. But like if they're not there anymore, like if the fish are just not showing up to these kind of movies,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what you make, sequels or not, TV shows or not. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I mean, he's coming in as CEO, right? Like, he's not.
Returning.
Well, he's returning, but he's also not like when they do stuff like that. And I've been with like with my company, things like that have happened, right? Like where they bring in like an old CEO or a new CEO or a CEO that's like related. It's like those sort of things are done, and it's normally to pay back some sort of like investor. Like he's got to get the money and
Oh,
pay the investors back. Like somewhere on the board, I'm sure somebody is owed money or has a representative of a lawyer that is like, great, where's my money? Great, where's my like
right.
these
Like you
places have
projected
bookies.
this with Ant-Man and it didn't get that. So
No, they're not even getting into that. They're just saying, I don't care how you get the money, get
right.
me my money, right? Like I don't like give me my money right now. And like any excuses for what creativity thing they were doing is separate,
I
right?
know.
So
Yeah.
all that he's doing is going to be sitting in an office looking at the creative team going like, get me the money, right?
Robert Downey Jr.
Well, that's the other thing. I don't.
Everything about the pandemic, they like I don't know if they handled it the wrong way, but it's like they've come out of it on the shittier end. Like with their movies, with their streaming, with their amusement parks, and with whatever else they have. Because everything this year for them has just tanked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are they doing?
I
Are they
mean,
messaging too much?
well, the problem is these things take 5 years, right? Like they don't. These movies don't take like 1 year to make, right? I mean, like for the most part,
Exactly.
they have to take 3 or 4 years. So to change trajectory while you've got 3 years of lag behind you is really difficult, right? And so that's why I think where you get these like reshoots and splicing and pulling
Yeah,
out of scenes that
a lot of green screen.
people won't like, and then you just end up with a bad product because you didn't think of like what you're saying, the actual story.
Right.
Like it's not that the bones of some of these things couldn't be better. Like I said, each one of them could have been fixed with tiny little tweaks. Just get away from that everybody's perfect. Like a lot of these shows just have perfect people in them. Like Ahsoka knows exactly where to go all the time. She-Hulk knows exactly what to do. Like like they can't just always know what to do. That's not entertaining.
Ray.
There's nothing to see except for like invincible person moves from one place to another place. Like that's all that happened. Like and then zany people are around them. Like it just doesn't work. And you can only hold on to mystery so long, right? So it I don't know. Like but
Right.
like I feel like She-Hulk messed up because they didn't have Bruce forced to save her. Like they didn't have Bruce
I
give
know.
her his blood reluctantly to save her life, right? And then
I
alter
know.
her
Like
life in a way that would cause resentment, you know?
Ruffalo is like an Academy nominee. Like he could do a great like let him do that. Let him do that scene. And Ms. Lonnie is an like multi Emmy award. Like she wins every year for that Orphan Black show. She plays like 7 different characters. Uh, to see that scene that I knew about, I was like, "Am I muted?"
No,
No.
I can hear you.
All right. I was like, I can't wait to see that scene. You know, like, oh shit, like he has to like drag her into the hospital, into like his lab, and
Yeah.
like get his thing and like hook them up and be like, you know, maybe he has like other blood, like Tony Stark's blood, but they don't match.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah, that would be
it could have
interesting
been
too. Like,
cool.
yeah, like he went for
There's other
something alternative.
Avengers,
That's
like he went for
interesting too. I
Cap's
didn't even
blood.
think about that. Yeah. Right. Like, who knows what
I'll
that would
just
have done, you
I'll
know?
just give her my own as me. Maybe it'll keep her, you know, as her.
He could have had like Iron Man 3 blood where like it would turn into like fire person or something, right?
Oh yeah, right. I always forget what those are called.
Magma. I don't remember. But the but yeah, I mean, it just would have added that bit of a dynamic, and I think you could have held off on the fourth wall breaking. You know, if you wanted it to be a comedy, then afterwards, I think that still could have worked. But you could have started with the dramatic, and then when she actually, for some reason, is able, I know I get that She Hulk, I guess, breaks the fourth wall in the comics, but I don't feel like it works in this situation where you've got kind of this dramatic connection with the Hulk and then her dealing with this change in, you know,
Yeah,
that she's
they
now Hulk, right? And She Hulk didn't turn back into a human, right? Like She Hulk was stuck forever as She Hulk,
no,
right?
she could like change at
She could
will.
change.
She
Oh,
could just like do it whenever she wanted.
hers wasn't by anger, right? That's what it was.
And the first episode was supposed to be the last one. So it's like she had been looking at the camera the whole season, and then like at the end of that episode, she looks at the camera and Hulk, or she talks to the camera, and Hulk notices, and then they like look away, and I think it goes somewhere else. And it's like, what? Why would you put that episode at the that you shot at the end at the beginning? I just that feels. I think they did that because they were like, we need Hulk in the first episode, or people aren't going to tune in.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And
I think you need Hulk in the story
but yeah, just do that with him as
anyway.
Bruce, and then Hulk later on.
But like you said, it could have been like a very dramatic beginning, and then just like a drama. You know, you could even still have like the Daredevil love story if you wanted. You just need it to
Yeah.
be like on that trajectory. Cut out all the weird, you know, online posting negative people part of the story, and have some sort of like kingpin on the stand or something like that she has to defend or something. You know, like something that puts them at odds. Like have them fall in love and then have them have to go to court and fight outside, you know, battling the scales of justice. Like make it like a lawyer drama.
That's what I thought we were going to get, and it was like, ooh, you missed. You tried to like go after the YouTube trolls instead of like writing a cool Daredevil She-Hulk lawyer
Yeah.
series.
But you're never going to get them as bad as they are either, right? Like you have to make them like these like cartoony things where they're like, hey, like when they show up to like the meeting together, they're like, hey, like we formed a secret like meeting room that we all hang out in. Like girls suck, right? I'm like, that's not like
I'm
right.
like,
Like
you're not understanding the method of bullies. Like, have you never been bullied before?
right.
The kryptonite to bullies is pretend they don't exist.
Yeah.
That's like how Howard Stern would like destroy everyone. He just like wouldn't talk about them. If people like would try to call him about Don Imus, he just wouldn't talk about them.
Right.
And because it's like if I say their name, then people are going to go look and figure out who they are, you know, and
Exactly.
that's what they did. I was like,
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
they won. it was like the kid in the neighborhood who waved at us and we waved back, and we were like, well, he won.
Yeah.
We were like teenagers. He was like 4. He waved, we waved back, and we were like, he just beat us at
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. But the
Something.
yeah, I think those like little tweaks just could have worked. The fourth wall break just that has to be done a certain way. You know, like in the Daredevil movies, I was trying to think of it. I'm like, why is this working? Not Daredevil. I'm like, why does this work in Deadpool, but doesn't work here, right? Like, why does he break the fourth wall all over the place? You know, but as soon as she does it, like it just I don't know. It feels really weird, right? Like it doesn't flow. And what I was thinking was everybody ignores Deadpool. Like he makes comments left and right, and it's probably because they're ad lib too, and they probably had picked from like 25 different takes.
Right.
But like Colossus like doesn't react to anything he says, right? Until it's like until it's like in that world talking, right?
Right.
And I think that's why it works so well, because people aren't reacting to his fourth wall breaking comments. They're actually running from him, or actually scared, or actually trying to give him advice, and they just kind of breeze right past the fourth wall break, right?
Yeah, he's usually doing it when they're like they had just told him to like go fuck himself, or like, you know, like shut up, or like they're just trying to ignore him.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't.
Because he just keeps talking, right? Like, like they're like, all right, like, and it might, and really, in some sense, it would probably be like nonsense.
What's with the bloody bear? my daughter. She's, you know, it's the last thing I had of her before she died. I wish I had the last 20 seconds back, so I wouldn't ask that question or whatever he says. So funny. He's so funny. I can't wait for that movie. That movie should be neat. Deadpool 3.
I think that works. But if we keep the fourth wall break going, like if things start getting more dramatic, and Deadpool was able to pull off like dramatic scenes with that.
Yeah.
The problem is it like no matter what, if you watch the Deadpool movies, it felt like the risk was like lowered. Like you never felt like you can't put Deadpool in an end of the world fight. Like he needs to be like Ant-Man scale again for what's happening. Like I get that his was like some distant future, like terrible things were going to happen, right? But I feel like his fourth wall breaking, it shuts off in those moments. Like it shuts off when something serious is happening. And I think that's what they need to do with that. Like they can't overuse it. Otherwise we're going to get like, I can't imagine She-Hulk versus Thanos. and like in the middle of like punching him, she turns and she's like, look at this guy.
But I could imagine Deadpool against Thanos for sure.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a shame we might never see that.
I could see that because, you know, you could see him getting pummeled by him, right?
Like it's like for as goofy as it is, Ryan Reynolds is very like, you know, he does take it very seriously and yeah, but there is like this underlying safety net that everything's going to be okay. Right. Because Deadpool really can't be killed anyway. Yeah. So it's almost like, God, he really just walks such a tightrope to pull that off, I feel like, to make it so funny. And fourth wall break, but yet you feel stakes at times, but you're also like, well, he can kind of get out of any bad situation. So I guess it's like when, you know, the people around him are in danger.
I was always wondering like how he like regrow, like what part of him regrows. I did see that. I did look up that like one of his arch nemesis is a guy that has constructed pieces of Deadpool. Like he's made of pieces of Deadpool that Deadpool had lost over time, and he's kind of stitched them all together and become like sentient.
Oh, that's
and he just spends
amazing.
all of his time hunting down Deadpool.
Frankenpool.
Yeah, and he's just like all it's just like old hands and old legs and stuff, like old body parts that Deadpool had like lost in other fights, and he just like creeps along, and just collects them, and
I
then
bet
like
he'll be in the movie.
I
Because at one point, Juggernaut rips him in half. So like his legs grow back. So
yeah.
those other legs are just laying there.
I think they commented on that too. I think they were like, so what? How does this work? Like, is there like a torso move walking around Midtown right now or something like
So many jokes in that movie.
I guess I also saw that like Lobo has that ability too. I never realized that he had
Yeah.
regeneration.
Like Lobo can survive if there's like a speck of him left. He can like regenerate and like come. He can't like really kill him. He's
Yeah,
like the Deadpool.
he's like insanely powerful. I didn't realize how powerful he was. But then
Jason
again,
Momoa.
he would always go and talk with like Superman, like Superman was like an idiot. Like he was not phased by Superman whatsoever. And so
Yeah, he's like the one person Superman can't really like defeat because no one can.
yeah.
There's like a way, I'm sure Rob has like mentioned, maybe Charlie, but I think that's who Jason Momoa is going to be in the new DCU. He looks just like him.
Yeah, he could do that.
Yeah, and he is like
That's
him. He's like,
probably who
whoa.
he should have been.
That's who he's gonna be, I think,
Yeah.
for Gunn.
Lobo. Yeah.
Lobo, and I think he's gonna just kind of like hop in and out of every movie because, I mean, a character like that, it's like, well, he doesn't die, so people are probably gonna blow him up, and he'll be back in the next movie. He'll get blown up again. Like he'll die in crazy ways in every DCU thing, but he'll just keep popping back up. That'd be nice.
I always
It'd be
liked how
fun if they could do that.
he was like no he didn't really have too much nonsense, right? Like he would just kind of come in, collect his bounty on whoever he was getting, and then just like drive off. And it
Right.
would be like 10 superheroes would be like, stop, and he'd be like, just stop it. Like
Yeah.
you're annoying me. I have to get back out to space. Like you guys are nothing.
Omega Man.
Have you watched any of Invincible this season? I did. I thought it was interesting how quickly they kind of tapped into like the multiverse thing and then just kind of just squashed it very quickly. Like
Oh, I know. That's
in
right.
the first episode, they were like, "All right, so this guy can open up portals to other dimensions."
Yeah. But like, I mean, are you all caught up?
Uh, yeah, because I think the next one's Friday, right? So
I think they take like a 2 month break.
no.
Yeah.
I almost speaking of doing the dishes, I was watching the last episode while doing the dishes, and I feel like I almost threw up. Like sometimes the gore, when he went like into the jaw of the
Oh
one
man,
lady,
dude.
I was like, all right, like, and
The
she's like struggling.
animation violence is unlike anything I've ever seen. Like next to, I don't even know, like Beavis and Butthead. Like I'm just trying to remember like gory cartoons. Not that I watch a lot of animated stuff, but it's just so nuts sometimes. And what's his face can't die. Mark, the main
Yeah.
character, and that fight he has with that white panda monster from that other dimension in like
Oh,
early
the
season
lion or
one.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, whatever he was.
like he like had like the yeah.
He just couldn't stop him, and he had that big like mallet thing, and he was just smashing his teeth out, and I was like, "Oh, this is so amazing!" But no one in my house will enjoy it.
Well, it was yeah, nobody will, yeah, that scene was like the most flipped upside down scene that
Oh, it's
just keeps
crazy.
you like guessing. You're like, wait, what? Like
I know.
he's
I'm
gonna
like,
lose? Like
yeah,
what is happening right now? And then that guy just like leaves like this was pathetic. Bye.
I
I'm
know,
like,
I
oh,
know.
what a
And then he makes like a 2-second appearance in another episode.
I don't know if that was him. I don't know if it was him. I think that was just somebody else from his. Because it didn't.
It's
It
a
didn't.
world.
Yeah, I did. I did a double take when I saw him. I think that's just somebody else from his world. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is him, but it doesn't seem like he would be somebody that would like sit on a council.
Oh,
You
is that
know,
what it was?
he was like in one of the most in one of like it wasn't this past episode. It was like maybe the episode before. It was the one with Adam or whatever. Like the one the Seth. What's his name? Seth.
Omni Man.
No, the one-eyed guy who comes to check on the planet.
Oh yeah, Seth Rogen.
Seth
I always
Rogen. Yeah,
forget his name. It's like weird.
I think it's like Adam, isn't it?
When he did you see that episode?
Yeah, that was rough.
Oh my god! I was like, oh man, they're really roughing him up. Oh, they're really. Oh, and then you hear like all the bones in his back, just like. I'm like, ah, they're killing him, Jesus. Oh no, his eye comes out.
Oh
Remember?
yeah.
I was like, oh god.
It's so funny when you see those fights because you're like, they can patch him up.
Yeah.
Like he's not
I
like
make
you're
excuses.
convinced. Yeah, you're making
Not dead yet.
excuses.
Not dead
he's
yet.
not dead yet. Like they could like maybe he'll be in the hospital bed later, and it's like like oh maybe not now. Oh no, like they just ripped his skull. Like he's
It was
ripped in
like
half now.
it was like when Thanos choked Loki. It was like, okay, he's still alive. Oh geez, and then you hear like, and you're like, oh man, he killed him. And his head just like stops. You're like, you dick.
That was great.
I'm still, I'm
But that
still
was
alive.
great for that movie because that like it set the tone, but it also set like power
says-
levels because you're like, wait, that was a god. I didn't know you could snap their necks. Like,
He whooped Hulk. He snapped Loki's neck and killed Heimdall.
and it was all within like the first 5 minutes to be like, hi,
And made Thor watch.
and then they were like, this is the movie.
I know, man.
So you're
That's
like,
the roots.
I'm in, I'm in. But you have to lose. Like, you can't just have a bunch of winning, right? Like, it's like the losing that makes you want to watch. You know. That's what I think that's what I like about Invincible so much is because it's like so much losing.
Dude, that even I think the sound, whoever did the sound for it, is so good because there's just moments where it's like, and you hear like a bird, and it's just two people like in the daytime, and I don't know, it just sucks you in.
Yeah.
It's really done well.
Well, it's done with care,
Animation just yeah right.
right? Like it's not like, all right, we need a scene where they talk, and it's like, well, maybe we'll show the coffee on the table that has steam coming off of it first. It's like,
Yeah,
why would we do that? Let's just go right to the scene. It's like, no, those, you know, like the squeaky cabinet door and stuff like that. It's like, hey, let's
right.
let's show like frustration. Let's show like anger
Yeah,
without the characters actually saying, I'm angry.
I agree.
You know, it's like those are like it's very much like Better Call Saul, right? Like Better Call Saul did that like with everything. It's like, you know, this episode you're gonna see an ice cream cone on the ground, and it's melting, and ants are taking it away, and you're like, what does that mean? You know, and it's like
Dave
the ice
Gilligan,
cream
man.
the ice cream's good, but now we've also shown that time passed. And now it's been long enough that ants are taking it, and you see him with it, and you're like, "Oh my god, what's going to happen to the ice cream cone?" Like, it's so odd that you like focus completely on a little prop in like the bigger world of the show, but those like little things that it's like, "Hey, pay attention to this," you know?
Right. Symbolism.
and then everything for that character is like expressed around it, and you're like,
It's like the floating stuffed animal head in the pool.
yeah, right, yeah.
Like it's pink and everything else is black and white. It's like, what is happening?
What is going on? But those are the things that just means like even if that doesn't play out, like even if that doesn't work, even if it's like sort of dumb by the time you get to the end of it, not saying
Right.
it was, but even if
Right.
it was dumb,
The payoff is like,
there's still a point where you're like, hey, you thought about it. Like,
right. The ride there was fun.
yeah, the ride was fun. You got me thinking about it. Could have been a bit better on the payoff, but everything else was fun. And I think I feel like the mall heist episode of that was kind of like that. Like I was like, this is taking a while, right? Like you're setting me up for quite a while.
The Mall Heist. Remind me, because obviously I binged it season one in a day.
That one was like a well, no, that was like season.
Two.
It was the last season, I think.
This most recent season.
Yeah. I won't ruin it in case you haven't seen
I
it.
yeah, I may need to go back and rewatch.
Yeah. But that was like a very
kinda long.
long developing like episode. Where like,
Okay.
oh my gosh, like this feels like homework, like highly suspenseful homework, like ulcer inducing homework, right? Like
And sometimes like I'll be watching it at work, and then I'll get an email, and I'll have to like build a PDF submission packet for a nurse with like their skills checklist and a cover page. And for like 25 minutes, I'm kind of listening, but I'm not watching at all.
yeah.
And I completely miss what's going on. But the show is so good. J.K. Simmons is amazing. I thought I was almost getting tired of him because he's like in everything that I watch,
Yeah.
and Oscar stuff that I don't even watch.
Yeah.
But he's just awesome. He's like one of the best actors. I love him.
No, he's
Good all the
fantastic.
time.
Yeah. I
He
remember
is.
liking him in that one Tom Hanks movie where it was like like the Southern guys and they're trying to rob the bank, and he was like amazing in that, and that was like the weirdest movie
Lady
ever.
Killers
Yeah, the Lady Killers. Yeah,
with the Wayans brother. They're in like
Yeah.
the basement.
yeah.
I watched the weirdest movie the other day, and I thought it was the Manchurian Candidate.
That you thought
But
the movie was?
I thought I was watching the Manchurian Candidate, but it's the Manchurian. Dude, I can't even remember what it is, but it was Jodie Foster and Benedict Cumberbatch, and I was like, and it looked like the title looks like the Manchurian, and then I just maybe was like, oh, I gotta scroll down to see
Was
Candidate.
Manchurian Denzel?
Yeah,
Okay.
the Manchurian. Dude, it's about it was awesome, but it should have been an hour longer. They like kind of wrap up the end where it's like, you should have showed me all that stuff that you put up on the black screen in text, because it's the person that's trying to prosecute him for like the death penalty at Guantanamo Bay,
Yeah.
and it's the person trying to defend him, and both of them finding out about all the like torture and shit that was going on over there
Oh,
with
okay.
people that weren't even involved. But I can't remember the title because it's really weird. It's like
It's like Manchurian or something.
it's not like Manchurian, but it's like Manturanian. It's
Manchurian.
close. It's like not extremely far from Manchurian. And I glanced at it and I was like, oh, I didn't know Cumberbatch was in that. I thought it was like an older movie. I'm like, I'm watching this.
Yeah.
And then like halfway through it, I'm like, wait a second, what the hell is this called? Manturanian.
That's fun though.
The
That's fun
Manturanian.
when you find a random one.
You know, Cumberbatch and Jodie Foster have like two scenes. One where they're kind of like, no, there's three scenes. One where they're like nice, but they're like, yo, we're enemies.
Yeah.
And then one where they're like doing this. And then one where they're like, you know, they become a team.
I
And
didn't
I
know
was
what
like,
that
yeah. I was like,
meant. A sword fight?
they crossed their legs. No, the Manchurian. I'm gonna just put Cumberbatch. That would probably be faster. The Mauritanian,
Mauritanian? Yeah.
based on the memoir Guantanamo Bay Diary.
I probably wouldn't click on it.
Yeah, I
I
had
bet
no.
Guantanamo
would've-
Bay Diary would have been a better title.
Shanley Woodley, 2021. How the hell did I like not know about this? But
Maybe it went to streaming only or something.
maybe, but it was good.
How do you spell it? Manturanian?
Mauritanian, 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 Martian. This is going to be like when I pronounced paradigm.
Paradigm.
And I'm saying it wrong. Yeah, it's like a cheap movie, but it's like good enough to have watched by accident thinking it was something else.
So funny.
Yeah, but again, the end, it was like, wait a minute, that was a lot that happened. Um,
Oh, it's called the Mediterranean.
yeah.
There's no candidate in it.
No, I just thought maybe I had to scroll down for candidate, but I didn't, so I just pressed play. I was so surprised that Cumberbatch was in that movie with Denzel. I was like, I didn't even know. And then I'm like, when does Denzel show up in this?
And he
And
just
I
never
didn't know
did.
Jodie Foster played Jodie Foster today. Like she has gray hair in the movie.
Oh,
But yeah, man, it's good enough.
all right. I'll check it out.
I mean, I'm not telling you to check it out, but I'm just
No,
saying.
I'm checking it out. You're telling
If
me.
if
And
if
I'm answering.
but it's like there's definitely flaws, but
Nope.
as far as like
I won't accept that.
two performances, actually, and the guy who plays Muhammadu, whatever, he's good too. Of course, he speaks perfect English.
Come on. I'm all for like a subtitle movie, but it's always like the distance from the TV and like, what am I doing? Like, when am I watching it? There was some movie I just watched that was like all subtitled. It was good.
Well, Tarantino does it the best with Inglourious Bastards. For like 50 minutes, it's like all subtitles, and it's like the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
You're like,
Well,
you forget what movie you're watching.
yeah. Well, I liked like Dark and stuff. It sounds completely different
Oh
when you
yeah,
hear
Dark.
it in the German. Like I'd watch it with subtitles without, because when you put it on English, I'm like, ugh, like this
I hate the dubs.
sounds
I
terrible.
can't do English dubbing. It's so obvious,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, you just like, there's no like, it's like someone just reading.
They have I did see a thing recently that they were using like AI to let actors go back and redub their own performances in like the actor would be
Huh.
speaking English, but the AI would go and change their mouth movements to be to reflect the English pronunciation.
Ah,
So that like in some cases the actor goes back and does that, right? So sometimes they do their own.
yeah,
If they can speak the other language, then they go back and do it.
yeah.
But then their mouths don't line up. And so they use the AI to just go in and kind of tweak their mouths to be the
Ah,
pronunciation, so that their overall performance doesn't change, but the words that are coming out of their mouth. And then the actor's there to give like a full 3D thing. And as they're giving the English, they're also being recorded and tracked. So in most cases, their mouth is actually their mouth. So it's not
oh,
like a
wow,
drawn
right,
mouth; it's like their
right.
mouth. But then,
It's not like a Kibbles and Bits commercial with the
and then they
dogs.
also have like a full 3D,
Right.
capture of their face. Did you ever see one of those
Yeah.
faces?
Yeah.
That's like
It's
nightmare
amazing.
real. No, but did you ever see
Um,
like the face mapping, where it's like
it's like,
it's all splayed out, so it's just one long. No, where it's just all one long skin map
oh
of like your
no.
face, like, because it's
Oh,
all flat.
weird.
Yeah.
Oh, gross. Like Face Off.
Yeah, it's like face off. Yeah.
Oh, no, I've never seen that. I like that though. I love how God, it's so insane. But see, the problem for me is I feel like they just record the audio and just slap it on top, and they don't do any more mixing because you can just tell it's like, Jimmy, come over. And like it's so
Right,
not
yeah.
in the scene that I'm like, up, dubbed. Like it's like ADR.
I'm
Like
like,
you can just
what?
hear it. It's like, oh, there's
It's like
no.
yeah.
Why were there no birds?
This is this
Why did the crickets stop?
It's the equivalent of it's not what you said, it's how you said it for men. Right? Is It's like when we hear subtitles, we're like, it's not what you said, it's how you said it.
Yeah, you didn't. You read it, and there was no nuance at all. Just black and white.
I think the other thing is too, sometimes because they don't match the mouth or the timing, like the scene might take longer to say in a certain language,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
sometimes they shorten the English and they shorten it to something that isn't like sometimes I've seen the subtitles and then but I have the English dub on and you'll hear the English dub and you'll be like, that's not even close to the same meaning.
Yeah.
You know, so then the English dub
Yes.
is like you're dumb and it's like you're my dad. And it's like that's not that changes the story a little bit. Yeah.
Wait, who are we talking about now? That's not there. When did the ant show up? Abuela, abuelita. You know, like, I'm like, ooh, so lost in translation.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I gotta pee
All right.
like a dragon.
Let's call it.
Let's call it. All right. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
We gotta go.
Gotta go.
Gotta go.
I'm Doug.
We gotta go. Yeah.
I'm out of here.
I'm out of here.